All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
It is Wednesday.
It is.
Today, Paul sails for Rome. Acts chapter 27, starting at verse 1. When the time came, we set sail for Italy. Paul and several other prisoners were placed in the custody of a Roman officer named Julius, a captain of the imperial regiment. Aristarchus, a Macedonian from Thessalonica, was also with us. He left on a ship whose home port was Adramyttium on the northwest coast of the province of Asia. It was scheduled to make several stops at ports along the coast of the province. The next day we were docked at Sidon. Julius was very kind to Paul and let him go ashore to visit with friends, with friends, so that they could provide for his needs. Putting out to sea from there, we encountered strong headwinds that made it difficult to keep the ship on course. So we sailed north of Cyprus between the island and the mainland. Keeping to the open sea, we passed along the coast of Cilicia and Pamphylia, landing at Myra in the province of Lycia. There, the commanding officer found an Egyptian ship from Alexandria that was bound for Italy, and he put us on board. We had several days of slow sailing, and after a great difficulty, we finally neared Cnidus. But the wind was against us, so we sailed across to Crete and along the sheltered coast of the island, past the Cape of Salmon. We struggled along the coast with great difficulty and finally arrived at Fair Havens near the town of Lecce. We had lost a lot of time. The weather was becoming dangerous for sea travel because it was so late in the fall, and Paul spoke to the ship's officers about it. Men, he said, I believe there is trouble ahead if we go on. Shipwreck, loss of cargo, and danger to our lives as well. But the officer in charge of the prisoners listened more to the ship's captain and the owner than to Paul. And since Fair Havens was an exposed harbor, a poor place to spend the winter, most of the crew wanted to go on to Phoenix, farther up the coast of Crete, and spend the winter there. Phoenix was a good harbor with only a southwest and northwest exposure. Now the commentary. Use of pronoun we indicates that Luke accompanied Paul on this journey. Our Aristarchus is the man who had been dragged into the theater at the beginning of the riot in Ephesus, Acts chapter 19, verse 29, chapter 20, verse 4, and Philemon, chapter 1, verse 24. Julius, a Roman officer, was assigned to guard Paul. Obviously, he had to remain close to Paul at all times. Through this contact, Julius developed a respect for Paul. He gave Paul a certain amount of freedom, Acts chapter 27, verse 3, and later spared his life, Acts chapter 27, verse 43. How would your character look up close and personal? Ships in ancient times had no compasses, so they navigated by stars. Overcast weather made sailing almost impossible and very dangerous. Sailing was doubtful in September and impossible by November. This event occurred in October AD 59. Although this was not the best time to sail, the ship's captain and the owner of the ship didn't want to spend a winter in Lecce or Fairhaven, so the officer took a chance. At first, the winds and weather were favorable, but then a deadly storm arose. There's nothing easy about Paul's life.
No.
After he became a Christian.
Yeah.
So, but here I'm sure that as we progress on this story, we're going to see the hand of God show again.
Oh, absolutely.
So, all right, I don't really have much to say about that, but there will be a picture of the route they took to get to where they were supposed to go after the video. And hope everybody has a glorious day, and we'll talk to you later.